This is LaShawn Binkley. I'm the host of Rockets Podcast. I'm the lead staff writer for the Dream Shake, and I also write over at SB Nation. And you can find me on Twitter at Binkley Hoops. And on today's Rockets Report, we're going to be talking about Cam Whitmore. It's a new series we're starting where we're going to profile different players on the Houston Rockets team. And today, I couldn't think of a better player to start with than the Summer League MVP himself, Cam Whitmore. We'll be talking about his high school days, his only year in college with Villanova. We're going to be talking about some of the trial and tribulation he went through just to get to the point where he got to, where he became the Summer League MVP after falling in the draft, after several reports came out about his not interviewing well, or not having good workouts, or injury concerns. We're going to be talking about all of that in this Rockets Fuel player profile. So hopefully you enjoy. So let's get into it.
Justice Smith, Jabari for three, and the win. Yeah! He got it!
Cam Whitmore was born July 8, 2004. A 6'7" forward out of Otis, Maryland. Cam played multiple sports heading into high school and had his first in-game dunk as an 8th grader. Cam attended Archbishop Spalding High School, and in high school he decided to dedicate all his time to becoming a basketball player. He was one of the better players in high school. Unfortunately, before he got to be becoming one of the top recruits in all of the country, his high school debut was delayed. As a freshman, in his freshman season, he suffered a broken tibia before the season, so he missed his entire freshman season. Once he got back from that injury after recovering and after rehabbing for multiple months, he played in the All-Star game in the offseason before his sophomore year. And unfortunately, again, a minute into the game, he broke that same bone that kept him out his entire freshman year. The first doctor he went to, he visited, the doctor told him, "You will never play basketball again." Those type of injuries, a lot of players never come back from. But Cam, of course, did not accept that. He wanted a second opinion. He went and got that a second opinion, and he had a path back to playing basketball after the second doctor told him that there is a way for him to get back into being able to play basketball at a high level. Cam went through months of rehab. Made it back from that injury, and once he made it back from the injury, then that's where his stock started to rise as one of the best players in the country. He showed everybody why he was so highly rated. After playing well versus Team Durant in the I-95 Coalition League, it's a league that they have out there out in Maryland. He was playing for Team Mello at the time. He played against several highly recruited, highly ranked prospects, and that's when his stock just took off after that. He was rated as number one small forward in the country during his high school career. Before he left high school, he was a 3-time All Baltimore Catholics team selection and the BCL Player of the Year in his final 2 seasons. After Whitmore finished college, he finished high school. He averaged 21 points, 10.6 rebounds, a little over 2 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. Coming off that great 4-year run, Cam was a 5-star recruit, and he was a McDonald's All-American selection. This was the first All-American, McDonald's All-American game after 2-year hiatus, of course, because of the pandemic. And Cam Whitmore did not disappoint. He put on a show.
I wouldn't take him second either, but I think
Cam Whitmore!
Prospect.
Massive slam!
A couple of months later, Cam will participate in the FIBA 18U tournament for Team USA. Whitmore continued to add to his trophy case, and he led Team USA to a gold medal. Whitmore finished with 30 points in the gold medal game. He finished averaging 18.7 points and shot 63% from the field as he took home the tournament MVP. Of course, with all that success, he was highly recruited coming out of high school, and after the McDonald's All-American game and the FIBA MVP, teams like LSU, North Carolina, Illinois, Miami, UCLA, they all came at Cam hard trying to get him to come to their school. Of course, Cam eventually chose Villanova But unfortunately, just like his freshman year in high school, he suffered an injury before the season started. And this time, the injury, he had a thumb injury, which delayed his debut with Villanova. And he played his first game on December 3rd, 2022 versus Oklahoma after missing the first 7 games. In that first game, of course, they were trying to ease him back in. So he scored 7 points, had 3 steals and 3 rebounds as he was eased back into action. It didn't take him long to get his footing and get back into the groove of things. Only a few games into his return or into his after his debut, he would go on to have several good games, including 21 points and 19 points in back-to-back games in his second and third game. The best game of his college career came against Xavier on January 7th. He finished with 26 points and 11 from 18 from the field. The one thing to keep in mind about the whole thing with Cam Whitmore in college, yes, his numbers probably weren't as high as he wanted, but Villanova was kind of in flux. Their longtime head coach had just left. They had a new head coach. It kind of just seemed like the team was kind of running in mud the entire season. But Cam Whitmore was able to work himself back from injury and still was able to average 12 points, over 12 points a game, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.4 steals in 26 games. That was good enough to get him the Freshman of the Year honors in the Big East because he also shot 47.8% from the field and an encouraging 34% from three-point range, which is something that's going to definitely bode well for his time in the NBA. Something we also saw, of course, at Summer League as he continued to work on his game, continue to build his game up. Unfortunately, Villanova didn't make the tournament, and that kind of kept a lot of people from being able to see his overall game as they were sent to the NIT, and then unfortunately in the NIT they lost in the first round, so they didn't make it too far in the NIT as well. But again, like I said, he was voted Big East Freshman of the Year, which is a great accomplishment, especially after missing your first 7 games due to that thumb injury. Then, of course, we move on to the offseason and the entire draft process, which we know the entire draft process is something kind of grain of salt. We saw a lot of different reports come out. I mean, going into the draft, we saw that Cam Whitmore could go as high as even to the Houston Rockets at number 4. At the very least, a top 10 pick. That was what a lot of reports were saying. It was actually people were saying that it's kind of a toss-up between Cam Whitmore and Amen Thompson for that number 4 pick for the Houston Rockets. But as we got to draft nights, you started hearing different reports coming out, and some people saying there's some injury concerns with Cam Whitmore. So he was kind of all over the draft board on draft night. Some people were saying top 10. Some people were saying maybe he falls out of the lottery. So nobody really knew at that point. Because during the combine, even though they did say that his interviews didn't go as well as everybody was hoping, he did have some great combine numbers. He was number 2 in total vertical leap. He had some great 40 or great baseline to baseline times. So he put up some great numbers despite the negative reports about him supposedly having bad interviews or not having great workouts. So as we get to draft night, of course, we start to see Cam start to slide. The Rockets took Amen Thompson number 4, and then his brother went number 5, and then as the picks continue to come in, then we started to like, wow, is he really going to continue to drop all the way outside the lottery? Well, not only did he drop outside the lottery, he got closer to where the Rockets were actually possibly able to draft him at number 20. A lot of people didn't think it was any way the Rockets would be able to get him at 20. As we later found out from Rafael Stone and a lot of different people, the Rockets and several other teams, including Indiana Pacers, were trying to move up in the draft to get Cam Whitmore. But luckily enough, or if you want to say if not necessarily luck, that Rafael Stone put it in place by making that Eric Gordon trade the way he did to where they were able to have a number 20 pick. The Rockets were able to draft Cam Whitmore at number 20, something that I don't think anybody thought was possible. Because like I said earlier, a lot of people thought that maybe Cam Whitmore could be a top 4 pick, at the very least a top 5 pick, but to fall to number 20 and for the Rockets to be able to get Amen Thompson at number 4 and to be able to get Cam Whitmore at number 20 without getting up any assets, you can ask for a better draft outside, of course, of getting the number 1 pick. To be able to get 2 top 10 talents is something that I don't think a lot of Rockets fans thought was going to be possible going into the draft. Um, so, of course, we move on to the offseason. Cam Whitmore, everybody's getting ready for the Summer League. And as we get ready for game one, Houston Rockets versus Portland, one thing to keep in mind, of course, everybody was focusing on Amen Thompson. They were focusing on Scoot Henderson matchup. That was the matchup everybody wanted to see, and it didn't disappoint, especially in the first quarter as Scoot Henderson couldn't miss a shot. He had made several shots in a row, was making everything he shot up. And then, unfortunately, injuries kept him out for the rest of the game. Then Amen Thompson picked it up in quarter, and he started getting to the basket, started making great assists. He had a great block. And then, unfortunately, an injury to him as well kept him out of the game, and neither player would play again in the Summer League. And then that's when Jabari Smith and Tari Eason kind of took over. Jabari Smith, as we know, hit the game-winning shot. And then in the second game, a game the Rockets also won, Jabari Smith just went crazy in that game. He just completely took over that game, had 2 straight 30-point games. Tari Eason was putting up double-doubles left and right. Both players showed that they were just too good for the Summer League play. So the Rockets shut them down after game 2, which opened the door for Cam Whitmore. Because before that, Cam Whitmore was kind of like a third or fourth option at that. And once Jabari Smith and Tari Eason were shut down for the entire Summer League, that's when Cam Whitmore stepped up and became the main focus of the offense. And that's where we saw a lot of where Cam Whitmore's skills kind of started to take over. He had 16 points versus the Thunder. He had 26 points in the Summer League, tying 8 steals versus the Warriors, and 25 points versus Utah in the semifinal game to get the Rockets to the finals, where they went in 5-0 for the first time in history. Keep that in mind. I mean, I know the Summer League in Vegas hasn't been around that long. It's been around probably around 10 years, but no point before that the Rockets went into the finals at all, let alone 5-0. So he was able to lead the Rockets into that finals, even though it didn't work out in the end for the Rockets as they fell to the Cleveland Cavaliers. But even before that game, we found out Cam Whitmore was voted the Summer League MVP, the first Summer League MVP for the Rockets in Summer League history. A huge award considering where Cam Whitmore came from being injured in his rookie year, his freshman year in high school, being injured in his freshman year at Villanova. Basically, reports saying being bad-mouthed, or at least not, at the very least, he wasn't defended by his coach coming out of college, dropping from top 4, top 10, all the way down to 20. The disappointment he had to deal with that. And then coming into the Summer League, kind of not necessarily afterthought, but most of the attention was on Amen Thompson. Let's just be honest. And then with Jabari Smith and Tari Eason being there, most of the focus was on them. But to be able to come out of all that, still keep his head up, keep grinding, and to become the Summer League MVP, considering all the great players coming into the NBA that played in the Summer League that had great performances, that is a huge success. That is something that I don't think the Rockets can ask for much more when it comes from Cam Whitmore and the Summer League. So that's definitely something that he can take going into this season, something he can continue to build upon as he gets ready for his first NBA season. Something to keep in mind this upcoming season for Cam Whitmore. Yes, he had a great Summer League, and you definitely don't want to disregard that. But the Rockets are, even with the trade of KJ Martin, the Rockets are still, they still have a sort of a logjam at the forward position. Yes, Tari Eason probably is going to play more backup power forward, but you still maybe just slot him in as small forward. And of course, you have Dylan Brooks, who they just signed. He's going to be the starter regardless. And then you have Kevin Porter Jr., who may play some backup shooting guard, may play some backup small forward. And yes, they still have Jae'Sean Tate. And I know people are out on Jae'Sean Tate for whatever reason, but the Rockets front office love Jae'Sean Tate. Ime has said nothing but great things about Jae'Sean Tate. So Jae'Sean Tate, one way or another, is probably going to get some type of minutes at the small forward position. So that doesn't leave a lot of minutes for Cam Whitmore. And yes, it is a good experience to be able to watch NBA players function and be, be even on the bench watching players, great players playing on the court. But at the end of the day, I think at this point, it's better for Cam Whitmore to get minutes. And I think that's why he's going to be playing, at least at the beginning of the year. sometime down with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, being able to get 30 minutes a game, being able to be the main focus of the offense. The Vipers play similar to a Rockets style. We don't know exactly how that's going to be with M8 taking over, because before it was Vipers were playing just like the Rockets, where they were trying to get up as many threes as possible, a lot of fast breaks, and whatever M8 offense M8 puts in, that's what the Vipers are going to play. So he's still going to be able to play a lot of the same type of offense and defense that the Rockets play. So I think that's where he's probably going to end up at the beginning of the year, but who knows? A few years ago, we thought that Alper Sengun may spend some time in the G League when he was first drafted, but he played so well, he forced the Rockets to put him into the rotation. So who knows what happens in training camp and preseason. So Cam Whitmore will get his opportunity to show, hey, I want minutes right now with the Rockets. But if he doesn't, it's not the worst thing in the world to play for the Vipers and be able to get those minutes and get that experience. And then I think at some point during this year, whether it's because of injury or bad play, he will start to get some minutes with the Rockets. And so, like I said, I expect big things from Cam Whitmore. I expect him to, at some point this year, crack the rotation, but at least at the beginning, he'll get his time with the Vipers and be able to, hone some of his skills and build upon the success he had in the Summer League. So I definitely expect big things from Cam Whitmore coming up soon. Make sure you check out the next Rockets Fuel podcast, which is actually going to be dropping this Saturday. We have Aaron Miller, who was actually Cam Whitmore's skills coach this offseason. He worked with him before the draft and then after the draft, before the Summer League. So it'll definitely be great to get some of his perspectives on what he saw from Cam Whitmore. He's worked with several NBA players like Jimmy Butler, like Patrick Beverly, Malik Beasley, several upcoming first-year players as well, like I said, including Cam Whitmore. So that'll be a very interesting podcast. So make sure you check that out. Like I said, that's dropping Saturday. We'll have more great guests coming up. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give us those likes. That helps us grow the channel. We appreciate all the support, and we will definitely check you later.